And what makes this thing turn even better than the P-51 is the fact that the flaps are just ridiculous. Now you think that the flaps will actually tear itself very easily in this thing? The answer is not really. I can deploy combat flaps at 450 kilometers an hour, or if I feel like it, if I'm doing the fancy loopsies to get on the enemy tail, I can deploy takeoff flaps instead at 350 kilometers an hour without ripping them off.
Just keep it up, and victory will be ours. Attention to the map!
Hey guys, it's Jim here, and welcome back to another episode of Heroes and Generals Buddies War Thunder. And in today's episode, we are taking a look at the first American aircraft to be added to Heroes and Generals. And you probably guessed it already, this is the P-38, or more specifically the P-38J-15. And if you're wondering why I'm playing this specific kind of P-38, that is because in Heroes and Generals they didn't really specify which kind of P-38 it was. Could have thought it was the G variant, but anyway. I looked into Heroes and Generals statistics to find a close second to what Heroes and Generals actually has, and a little while later, I looked through all the different War Thunder planes as well, and found out that there's at least 6 different kinds of P-38s. There's a P-38E, P-38G1, YP-38, P-38J-15, P-38L5LO, and the event vehicle, the Bongs, the Richard Bongs P-38J-15. Which I'll probably never play because this thing is only available in the marketplace, which I will never buy from. So there's only like 5 to me. But anyway, of all the P-38s that is available for me to pick up, only 2 of them carry bombs, and they are the P-38J-15 and the P-38L5-LO. And why did I pick the P-38J-15? It's not because I'm lazy, but after a while of searching, checking and whatnot, I decided that the J-15 is the close second, mainly due to the fact that the L5-LO has this thing called air brakes. And the last time I played the airplanes in Heroes and Generals, I do not recall the game having any form of air brakes that you can actually control. So, I'm just gonna roll in the P-38J-15. But it's not really a bad plane as compared to the L5, just because it doesn't have air brakes. Both planes are actually pretty good in their own aspects. Now for the J-15, you can go up to, oh boy, 668 kilometers an hour in top speed. Pretty sure you can go a little bit higher than that, but just to be safe, keep within that speed. But the good news is that, unlike the P-51, why do I prefer this thing over the P-51 is mainly for several reasons. One is that, for a heavy fighter, this thing is actually pretty light. A very light heavy fighter. And why do I say that? It's because you have a ridiculous rate of climb. and shouldn't really come as a surprise at all, mainly due to the fact that this plane is using two Edison V1710-89 12-cylinder engines, which are the upgraded version of the Edison engines compared to the P-40s. Kinda makes me wonder if they actually put this in the P-40, would it make it a P-40N? Anyway, two of these powerful engines, that means your climb rate is ridiculous. Like, you can go from 200 to 300 meters in altitude, or basically from the ground, to 1500 meters very quickly. And the second you level off, even though you stall out trying to climb to the altitude, that's not a big deal because once you level off, your speed will build up very quickly in this thing. Because again, this is actually a pretty light heavy fighter, despite all these fuel tanks, two engines. Oh boy. Then the next aspect is that it does have a very good turn time. Again, for a heavy fighter, this is actually a pretty light heavy fighter, and I suspect it's because also of the elevator in the back. This is a very big elevator, by the way. Not only do I say that this is actually a very good turn time, this is actually better than the P-51. And what makes this thing turn even better than the P-51 is the fact that the flaps are just ridiculous. Now, you think that the flaps will actually tie itself very easily in this thing? The answer is not really. I can deploy combat flaps at 450 kilometers an hour, or if I feel like it, if I'm doing the fancy loopsies to get on the enemy tail, I can deploy takeoff flaps instead at 350 kilometers an hour without ripping them off. So yes, I will definitely outmaneuver a lot of planes with this thing. And they don't expect it either because they see twin engine, oh, that means I can outturn them. Yeah, fair chance, buddy. And now moving on to the armaments. Now this is the part where it kinda answers everybody's question as to why is the P-38 in the game and not P-51s and P-40s at the time. Well, it's the fact that they needed a form of balance with the other planes in the other nations like the Yak-9B, the 109E4, because he needs a small arms machine guns fire, quote unquote, and a autocannon. And unfortunately, the P-38 is the only one that fits that category. So, what do we have? We have 4 50 caliber machine guns and 2 50 caliber machine guns, the late war version, thank God for that, as well as a single 20mm AN-M2 autocannon, which is pretty devastating for its battle rating because you can definitely intercept aircraft, like the P-8 trying to drop its 5,000 pound bombs, because usually they try to fly as high as possible, so most of the time enemy aircraft tries to go up to the P-8 will stall out and die to its gunners. And this is one of the few planes that can actually go up to the P-8 without stalling out too much. And as the 50,000 telemium goes, this is what we'll be firing. We'll be using the universal belt because, again, at battle rating 4.3, American faction isn't exactly known for a 4.3 tank, so unfortunately we'll have to take this thing to a higher battle rating. So if that's the case, I'm going to be using the universal belt so I can at least shoot down planes a little bit better. As well as my 20mm, I will be using the deform belt, not because I haven't unlocked it yet, but it's mainly due to the fact that I see the other belts and yeah, I'm just gonna stick to the deform belt anyway. I can at least shoot down planes or I can shoot ground targets with relative ease. But anyway, the next thing about the plane, this is what we're actually playing this plane for. The 2x 500 pound bombs or 250 kilogram shells, which kinda makes me wonder as to why on earth do these bombs do like half the damage of the German 250 kilogram shells. But anyway, these bombs will definitely take out most medium tanks you come across at battle rating 4.3 and above. Just keep in mind that if you get up tiered to 5.3 or whatever, 5.7, something to keep in mind is that if you come across heavy tanks like IS-1s, IS-2s, or Churchills and whatnot, you may have a little bit of a difficulty destroying them, mainly due to the fact that Gaijin decided to do that thing where there is a maximum armor penetration. Seriously, what the hell is this, man? Or if you're playing this thing in your own time, you can also opt for the rocket launcher M8 rockets, which even though I personally don't really like using them because of their armor penetration and they are mainly good for taking out open top vehicles, but the good news is that they will be mounted on the nose. Let me show you. They will be mounted on the nose, so they are actually pretty accurate. But then again, since this is Heroes and Generals by War Thunder, we will not be using the rockets regardless. So how does this compare with the one in Heroes and Generals? It's a little bit of... I don't really know if it's actually really better or it's pretty much the same. I'm guessing this plane in Heroes and Generals does turn pretty well, but at the same time, I will say the same thing for the one in War Thunder as well. Not exactly sure if there's really any real difference between the two. I guess maybe the bombs in Heroes and Generals are a little bit more effective, mainly due to the fact that they don't have the max armor penetration value. Or maybe the one in War Thunder is better, mainly because it fights every other aircraft, unlike in Heroes and Generals, where it's fighting a poorly designed, in game wise, poorly designed EV fighters of the other two factions, which caused a lot of the player base to start bitching about this plane in Heroes and Generals, despite the fact that P-38 was actually bullied by you guys in your AX and your 109s. But anyway, that's all I gotta say about this aircraft. Now let's take this thing out to battle and let's try our best to actually bomb something, shall we?
Enemy forces have captured that zone. Weapon has been damaged. The enemy tank has been destroyed. The enemy has been destroyed. If we don't do something fast, the enemy will win.
Guys, B is very secure, can we move on?
Attention to the map.
Time to fly away from the scene. Okay, now back up, back up. Is that not him?
Allied forces have captured the zone. The enemy is winning. On target.
Bloody knew he's not dead. I had to scratch my neck for a second. Hi. Thank you, got stabilizer. Really? Maneuver fighting with that thing? Come on.
We don't have the advantage anymore.
Is that a P3? Yeah, I think it is. It's heroes and generals all over again. Come here, buddy. The enemy controls most of the strategic zones. Get the shit out of him, buddy.
The enemy is winning.
Whatever.
The victory is near. Attention to the map. Attention to the designated grid square. Attention to the map.
Please work, please work, please work. Yes!
Attention to the map.